Okay, we have a few more minutes. Let's take another call from Kent from Fresno. Kent, did you have a story to tell or a question to ask?
I have a story to tell and a little input. I'll try to be as quick as I can. Thank you, Mr. Davis. I've had custody of my daughter for 7 years, and mom kind of abandoned her and ran the streets, and I've been raising her. I've had her in private school since I've had her, and I went to court and got all custody rights, sole, physical, and the visitation was on my discretion. And her mom's never made an attempt to actually have a relationship with her or actually help us out, never asked for child support from anybody or any kind of help to take care of her because I just wanted to do my duty. And now her mom called about a month and a half ago, and we decided to let her talk to her, and phone conversation started to go haywire. And my daughter was upset, started crying, and I had to end the call. But ever since then, my daughter's just been acting up and running away from us. And we called CPS and said, hey, we're looking for help. My daughter's running away. They said, you guys got to make police reports and file her as a missing person. I said, yes, of course. We can't go to bed not knowing, where she's at. And we drove many hours looking for her. And she gets back. Long story short is they just took my daughter yesterday, and because they had my daughter would come back like days later, and the cops were pretty much just sick and tired of it, and she's been really disrespectful to the cops. She's been disrespectful to me and my wife. Cops had to take her to juvenile hall.
How old is she?
15. She's 15.
Okay, so what question did you have for me?
I guess the question would be if CPS has my daughter, what do I do to get her back when I did nothing wrong?
You go to court and you fight for her.
Okay, she doesn't want to live with us. She's told CPS that she wants out of this house because she wants to run and do whatever she wants, and she doesn't want to live by the rules.
Those are very tough cases, Kent. Very tough. Especially when the child, you said, is 16?
She'll be 16 in October.
Yeah. Those are tough cases. Sometimes I hear judges say, well, the tail doesn't wag the dog, meaning, the child doesn't make the decision, the parent does. But then I've heard other judges say, well, she's 16, I can't send her home if she doesn't want to live there because she's just going to keep running away. So, if you want custody of her and you want her back in the home, get an attorney or use the court-appointed attorney and go to court and fight for her. That's the only thing that you can do. But I have to tell you, you might have one of those judges that say, hey, she's 16, I'm not going to place her back in your home because she's just going to run away, and when she runs away, she's probably going to get, herself hurt in some manner. 16 running the streets, that's not a good thing. Anytime. One of the things
they didn't take my other son though.
Right, that's good. That's great. But Kent, one of the things the only thing that's going to solve this is if you go to court and you get some court-ordered counseling with your child. Obviously, there's something bothering her. There's something wrong. It probably has nothing to do with you. But counseling will help. Hey Kent, I want to thank you for calling and thank you for listening. And call us in a couple weeks and give us an update on what's going on with your daughter. Sorry to hear that story. Okay, we're going to take another break. This is The Secret: How to Fight Child Protective Services, and we'll be right back with more calls. Okay, we're back. The Secret: How to Fight Child Protective Services and Win. Let's talk to Brad from Fort Worth, Texas. Brad, did you have a story to tell or a question to ask?
Both.
Go for
it. Cynthia Becker, actually, who called in earlier, was talking about my case. I'm the one she was just talking about. And my story is more about a district court judge and an amicus attorney. I have a 5-year-old and a 4-year-old, and a little bit over a year ago, my 4-year-old at the time, my son, made an outcry to us, a sexual outcry, a pretty rough outcry, also beat up as well, but that had been going on for a long time. The sexual abuse, however, was pretty devastating. He made this outcry to Cook's Children's Hospital, to a sexual assault nurse that is by himself, not with me in a room. That's him telling her what has happened to him. That is a nurse that is trained in forensic interviews with children that's been sexually molested. The next day, we had to go to a place called Alliance for Children, and my son made another forensic interview to a Crimes Against Children unit. We left there thinking, of course, this would be handled, and little to our surprise when we left, we didn't hear anything for days. We were starting to call the detective on the case. His name was Detective Rodriguez. We were calling him daily, hell, sometimes 2 or 3 times a day.
Hey, Brad,
the CPS investigator.
Brad,
Yes.
let me butt in just for a second. We're going to try not to use names, okay?
Okay, yep. CPS investigator, we're also contacting her. We were contacting the place, Alliance Center for Children. We were contacting every number that we had, and we were getting nothing back for this entire week. Finally, at the end of the week, the abuser is the mother, and it was coming time that the kids were supposed to go back. So this detective finally gives me a call back and lets me know that this is between me and the judge, that he's got nothing he can do, that there is a safety plan in place, but I've got to let the children go back. But that we've already got lawyers, and we'd be doing things in this meantime to try to get this taken care of. So I had to let my children go back. So a week goes by, and again, this detective and everybody else involved in this case does not get back to me. Even though we're all calling. We have a pretty good support system at this time. So we're all calling, trying to find out what's going on, and nothing. Anyway, when I pick my kids up a week later, as soon as my son gets in the car, he lets me know he's been abused again. And this time it's worse. Not only has he been molested this time, but this time they took his pet guinea pig and they killed it in front of him and told him that he better not ever tell anybody again, especially the police. So I call this detective, and I am irate. I pick my kids up at 6 o'clock, and I'm making this call by 6:05, and I'm irate. And I never get a call back. And then I start calling his superior, his sergeant, which I also never get a call back. And we go through this whole week all over again. So finally, with this big support that we got, we go down to our local police station. We call, find out what our zip code is and which one we're supposed to go to. So we go down with people, with a group of people, 20 people, so we can see the chief. And we have a lot of beat cops. So beat cops in my case have been great. The regular cops have been great. And these cops were all around us. We had 8 or 9 cops all listening to my son's story and all listening to us and ready to help. However, the chief never came outside. And finally, after about 3 hours of us sitting out there, all of us people, they came up to us and said CPS refuses to come out, and the chief is not going to talk to us, that it's a CPS call and it's a civil matter, and they can't get involved. So the police that were outside were telling me, hey man, it is a civil matter. I would not let those children go back. There's no way I'd let them go back to their mother. I said, okay, absolutely, I'm not going to. So we go back, and nothing happens. And anyway, this is like on the end of the weekend, on a Friday. By the following week, on a Monday, I have a court order comes to my house that I have to bring the children up to the courthouse with me. So me and my wife, and just so you know, my wife has been in my son's life since he was 15 months old, and in my daughter's life, her entire life. So my wife and I take the kids up to the courthouse thinking, surely this is going to get handled. I mean, 2 outcries, This is pretty horrific. So we get there, and to everybody's surprise, this judge takes the children from me and makes the kids go back home with their mother, who they've been making these outcries against. So So we go home. This is on a Monday, and on Wednesday, they send a fugitive task force to my house to pick me up and throw me in jail.
For what?
Yeah, for interference with child custody. Nobody has been arrested for that in the state of Texas for 22 years. And they're arresting me on that charge, which, like I told you earlier, it's a civil matter. They're arresting me on that charge, and not only arresting me, but with a fugitive task force. I mean, parked in my grass, in my neighbor's grass, a roadblock up the street, a fugitive task force. A riot shield was the first guy that was knocking on the door with his gun and a battering ram to batter down my door.
Hey, Brad, did you hire an attorney?
Oh, yeah. $325,000 in a year. Recusals, mandamus, you name it. All roads lead back to this judge. There's no getting out from underneath this district cut George. District
wait a minute.
Judge.
What was the $325,000?
For all we have done everything. You name it. You name it. Recusals, mandamuses, restraining orders, you name it. We have done every single thing you can do in a court system, and all roads lead back to this judge. We have had 2 sexual assault nurses testify. We've had 4 other nurses testify. We've had supervisors on my case testify. We've had family members testify. We've had a whole courtroom testify to all this abuse with nothing on the other side.
We're running out of time here.
Oh, okay.
You have a CPS case going on right now, correct?
We don't know. They're all closed within 24 hours. There's probably been about 40 of them opened, but they're usually closed before the next day even begins.
Okay, so this is what I would recommend. You're going to have to contact the Department of Health and Human Services and the Department of Justice, and I would suggest, with the help of your attorney, that you guys file complaints with both those.
My attorneys have left. This is a big story. Like, one of my attorneys was made a judge on my court case. This is something that you're not really talking about on your show. This is about corruption, real corruption, and it's not just me. There's other mothers that are with me that's going through the same thing with the same judge and the same amicus attorney doing the same thing to them.
Okay.
If you have your kids abused in Tarrant County, they're going to take your kids away from the protective parent and they're going to put them with the abuser. Plain and simple, every single time. There's not one story where it goes the right way. Not one. It goes.
Hey, Brad, I want to appreciate you calling. We have to take a break. My engineer is making me take this break right now. I have to pay some bills. Call us next week and give us an update on what's going on. I'd like to talk to you further. This is The Secret, How to Fight Child Protective Services and Win. We'll be right back with more calls.